Hey folks, this is GG3. Welcome to 2012. Remember I was going to tell you I was going to be doing something grand to celebrate my anime fandom. Well, this is the video I'm about to present. I'm going to offer up my thoughts of what I found to be the top 25 best anime I ever got to see throughout my 10 years of anime fandom. These were anime that stuck out so strongly with me that I've liked them ever since, and it's hard for me to find any other anime that are up to their caliber. It was quite hard for me to put together this list because there were so many anime I liked, but I could only cram in 25 for this list, so what you see is what you get. Alright, of course, be warned, this is just my personal opinions, so don't get too heated if I don't include an anime that you liked. Otherwise, let's get going with the top 25. First up at number 25 is Studio 4C's comedy. Not too many of you might know what this is. This was actually a 10-minute short that the company had put together as one of their mini film series. This short's about a girl recruiting the services of a mysterious black swordsman to help save her village from an attack by English forces. Because this is taking place, this is basically supposed to take place during a time period, natural time period within British history, but off the top of my head I don't remember what it was exactly. As a piece of animation, it's quite impressive to check out. Character design quality might be a little below par, but when you get to the action sequence that involves a black swordsman slaying the English soldiers, it's quite the sight to behold, and for a 10-minute piece, it does well in laying out a simple story without having anything too complicated to lay out. It's just quite simple and easy to get into, and if you're not, this isn't just for anime fans, but if you're an animation enthusiast in general, you might like looking into comedy. Next up at number 24 is Tokyo Godfathers. I'm a huge Satoshi Kon fan, and I'm seeing every one of his works that were ever released. And so don't be too surprised that you see a couple other Satoshi Kon films on this countdown, but as for my thoughts on Tokyo Godfathers, if you're looking for something to check out during the holidays, it's a great anime to check out. You don't find too many anime that pay a believable focus on portraying poverty in Japan, and this is one of the few anime I've seen that actually delivers a pretty believable look into it. The series is focused on a trio of homeless people who come across an abandoned baby, and they go around throughout Tokyo during the holidays to try find the location of the baby's parents. As you can expect from Satoshi Kon, the animation is quite realistic. You can get very lifelike depictions of the city landscapes of Tokyo. You got people drawn to actually look like real life people instead of the more eccentric or Bishonen crap that you can expect from typical TV anime titles. And the movie explores the various backgrounds of the three homeless people along with the baby, and it manages to do all this pretty well within its 2-hour time limit. It's a great film to get into if you're a Satoshi Kon fan or any fan of anime films in general, and it's pretty easy to get into. Next up at number 23 is Nana. This is probably the best work I've seen from Ayazawa. Well, not besides Paradise Kiss, but sadly, that's an honorable mention. I liked it, but I couldn't find it good enough to add onto this countdown. This focuses on the friendship and tensions that go on between two young women named Nana, one of them being a carefree woman who's used to getting pampered and dumped by various boyfriends, and the other one being an aspiring rock musician. The series focuses on the various situations faced by those two and their close companions, and explores some very touchy issues such as teen prostitution, pregnancy, sex, the struggles of trying to become a successful rock band. It has very beautiful animation, characters are drawn very believably. It consists of some very powerful rock ballads. It's one of the few Jose titles I took a very strong liking to, and if you don't mind a series with a strong focus on female characters, then you can't go wrong with Nana. Next up at number 22 is Great Teacher Oniska. This is a fun comedy drama focused on a perverted motorcyclist and former biker gang leader named Eiji Oniska, who graduated from a third-rate college and is hired to tame a wild class of middle school students. The series balances comical situations involving the antics of Oniska and drama coming from the different situations faced by the various students of the class that Oniska has to teach, as Oniska tries to help solve the problems of each of the students, some of them being bullies within the class and eventually come to Oniska's side, and also dealing with corrupt members of the teachers and staff among the school. If you're looking for a fun comedy drama to get into, you can't go wrong with GTO. Next up at number 21 is Key the Metal Idol. This is a fairly obscure title that many of you have not heard about. This is a 15-episode OVA series released during the mid-90s, focused on a teenage girl named Tokiko Kiniba, who believes herself to be one of her grandfather's robots, who, after her grandfather dies, she is given the task of going to Tokyo and to make 20,000 friends in order to become human. While the premise might seem like something you would expect for a light-hearted shoujo title, you wouldn't want to think that way. This is a pretty dark series that takes its time unraveling plenty of mysteries surrounding Key's origins and the motives of a robotics company which is pretty corrupt in its practices of obtaining means in order to run its robots. And some of the stuff that you come to learn in later episodes of the series tends to get quite disturbing. This series is also notable for having perhaps one of the most hauntingly powerful soundtracks I've seen in anime, having some pretty powerful ballads such as the ending song to the series, along with the powerful finale song sung by Seiyu called Lullaby in the last episode of the series. I don't know too many people who have taken a liking to the series, except the few I know on in the Anime News Network forums. But if you're all looking for something dark and haunting and powerful and a bit out of the ordinary for what you would expect for an anime series, then you wouldn't go around trying to give Key the Metal Idol a shot. Next up at number 20 is Revolutionary Girl Utena. Where do I even begin with this series? As I might have mentioned in my top 10 best anime of 2011 video, the director of this series, Kunihiko Ikahara, I believe his name is, he's well known for portraying some pretty surreal and complex symbolism and characters within the few works he's directed. And Utena is perhaps his most well-known and infamous works that he directed. The series focuses around high schooler tomboy Utena Tenjo, who finds herself involved in the rose duels where she's basically competing against the middle school student council for possession of a girl named Auntie Himamiya, who's supposedly the Rose Bride, and basically whoever is her prince has to duel other duelists in order to claim possession of her, and whoever prevails in the Rose duels will get to use her for the key to the revolution. The series is very complex in its characterization, exploring the various dilemmas of the characters, and it has some pretty complex symbolism focused on characters coming of age or getting into some pretty dark issues related to sexual symbolism, which the series isn't afraid to tackle. It's not blatant, but you can it is quite shocking to see unfold. You can expect implications of incest, lesbianism, and homosexuality that the series isn't afraid to tackle, along with plenty of metaphors retaining to adulthood and coming of age. You won't think of roses and automobiles the same way again once you take a look at this series. Next up at number 19 is Bartender. This is another fairly obscure series. Obscure enough that the series hasn't even been licensed at all by any North American distributor, even though it was animated back in the mid-2000s. This is a episodic series focused on bartender hoping to tend to the problems of his various clients and helping them relieve their problems with some sort of alcohol that's related to the problem that said client is facing. This is a well animated series. It's quite meticulous in its detail, unbelievably exploring the aspects of being a bartender, from how to make cocktails, the history of the various types of alcohol and cocktails put together, how one gains their profession from being a bartender. It also features a good amount of focus on the backgrounds of the various clients the bartender helps out in this series. Of course, it won't be for everyone because of how episodic the series is, but as I've pointed out enough already ad nauseum, if you're looking for something out of the norm for a anime, then try giving Bartender a shot.